South Africa take on Australia in match two of the Champions Trophy. And it's going to be a game that is going to be very interesting. I think that both teams are going into this match with a hell of a lot of confidence. And that's dangerous from a South African standpoint because Australia is a type of team that always comes to the party in major tournaments. It doesn't matter how many players they are missing, it doesn't matter what personnel they put out there. The mentality that is ingrained within Australians when it comes to these tournaments is massive and it mustn't be underestimated. This team beat England in their opening match. So they're coming into this game with a hell of a lot of confidence. South Africa convincingly beat Afghanistan in their opening match. So they will be coming into this match with confidence. So it's going to be a game that I'm assuming is going to be very close. From what I've heard from the people that I've spoken to, high scoring game is expected. And I'm talking about both sides. So whether you chase or whether you spat first, I'm going to be expecting a close match. Now, personnel is going to be obviously a massive talking point as it is on every single preview show and every single live show that we do. The starting 11 is always something to be debated among South African cricket fans. So we're going to be discussing that a little bit. There isn't too much that I think is going to change, though, for this match. But we will be discussing the starting 11s. And most importantly, I want to hear what your starting 11s are. So put them in the comment section and in the live chat, please, because I really want to know who you'd select for this team, for this game. And then I'll read it out on the show as well. But before we get going, before we get started, there are a couple of things you have to do. So I'm going to wait right now, and I want you to click that subscribe button and click that notification bell for all future videos. Come on, guys. Go and subscribe. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Go hit that subscribe button. Have you done it, guys? Come on. Hit that subscribe button, please. So I also would like you guys to please smash that like button, comment, and share. Very important that you do so for the community as well. Your comments will be read by so many more people. Your likes obviously will put this into other people's feeds. So please do it and go and smash that like button and comment and share this video as well. I'd also like you guys to please download Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen right now, as well as in the description. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's preview show. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine. This is your preview show. I'm your host, Khalid. This is the show where we talk about all the major talking points when it comes to game two of the Champions Trophy from a South African standpoint. And today we're going to be discussing that. There's a lot to get into before this match starts. I just want to say something quickly before we start that Temba Bavuma's press conference ahead of this match is on the channel. So go ahead and check that after the show. You can go watch that and see what his comments has been leading up to this very, very, very important match, guys. This is the most important match of the group for me. When I looked at the group, I said, this Australia game is going to be extremely important because Australia always bring their A game to tournaments. They always perform when it comes to knockout competitions. And there was a lot of talk about the players that were missing with Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark, etc. Hazelwood also all out of this tournament, all missing from their squad. So that was a major talking point. Can Australia, put on the performances that they have in the past with these key bowlers missing, because those are three very, very important players for the Aussies. South Africa also have a couple of pacers missing. You know that. We've spoken about it before the Afghanistan match. But I was quite impressed how this bowling unit performed as a whole. I think Temba Bavuma managed his bowlers also extremely well. He bowled them at the correct periods within the match. They all bowled to a plan and stuck to it, which is something that we don't get to talk about a hell of a lot. The extras as well. We need to keep it down, those extras, and that's very important against Australia. Now, the big talking point is, do we bat first or do we bowl first? What should be the decision going into this match? There's been a little bit of dew around Pakistan, it's particularly at Rawalpindi, and that's where the game is going to obviously be. And that always gives you a hint into rather chasing, because that dew in that first innings can be a little bit tricky, and it tends to maybe dry up a little bit as the game obviously goes along. That's logic. But with a little bit of dew around, apparently might be a little bit of drizzle around as well. So that might affect the game a little bit. But we will get an 11 start South African Standard Time. So it's going to be very important for South Africa to make the right decision at that toss. For me personally, I think that we should chase, even though I know batting first has been South Africa's strength over the last couple of games, etc. But I don't think batting first in this particular match is as important. You know why? Australia chased down 352 with 15 balls remaining against England. So does it really matter how much we post? Because if we do bat first, we're going to have to post 360, 370, 380. We're going to talk about a record-setting totals here. I think South Africa's best chance will probably be trying to restrict Australia to as little as possible in the first innings, especially if there is dew around. So I think that should be the strategy going into this match, because Rawalpindi, it is going to be a flat deck. It is a high scoring ground in general. So that's something that we need to also take into consideration. You're going to bring two of the probably the most informed teams when it comes to their batting attacks based off the first game at East South Africa and Australia. I mean, South Africa's entire top order almost scored big scores or got milestones. I mean, Ryan Rickleton in the last match got 100 on a maiden 100, his first ODI 100. The only Tony DeZorzi didn't perform with regards to the top order. Rassie van der Dussen got a quick 50. Aiden Markram got an even quicker 50. So all of these guys have put in performances and did really, really well. So it's crazy that we are going into this match with these two batting lineups and these two batting these two teams that are completely informed when it comes into this tournament with regards to the bat. Can't forget about the captain Temba Bavuma as well, that got a half century as well. So South Africa is going into this team with a lot of informed players. The big question is going to be, what is South Africa going to do if Heinrich Klaasen comes back? For me, it's an obvious decision. For me, there's only one decision, and that is to drop the most out-of-form batter, and that is Tony DeZorzi. Unfortunately, I'm a big fan of Tony. I believe in him 100%. I believe in his ability. I believe that he's going to be a big player for South Africa going forward. But in tournaments, you have to pick on form, I feel. It's especially when the players or batters are really seeing the ball well, are really getting their timing right, and they are putting in great performances. And all the batters look really good out in the middle. So it will have to be Ryan Rickleton and Temba Bavuma for me that opens the batting for this particular match. And then Rassie at 3, Aiden at 4. Klaasen is going to go for a late fitness test to see if he's available for this particular match. And then they'll probably pick him. So it will be him at 5 and then David Miller at 6. I think we should go with the same bowling attack. I do believe, however, that Shamsi would be a dangerous player to play against the likes of Australia. He had some success against them in tournaments and in previous games, so he knows how to play against Australia. he'll be amped up for it. And when Shams is really amped up for something, he really does perform normally. So they will be tempted into doing that. But knowing Rob Walter and knowing his track record when it comes to selecting sides, he doesn't tend to make changes just for the sake of making changes. I would bring Shamsi in for Lungi, but I don't think he will. I think he's going to look at this Rawapindi wicket. I think he's going to see that it's flat. He's going to want a player that has a lot of change ups and that has a lot of different variations to bowl in this particular match against Australia. And I think he might be tempted because Lungi did decently in the previous match. I'm not going to say well because he was quite expensive in certain stages of the match. But I think what's going to be happening is we're going to have a situation where Shamsi, I feel, can be a deal breaker and can be the one that can kind of restrict the likes of Australia, particularly that in the middle stages of a match, if they've just lost a wicket, if KG broke through or Marco broke through, it's nice to bring on a Shamsi just to make the scoring a little bit tougher and to force Australia into making mistakes. So I would make that change, and I'd make those are my two changes that I'll make: Heinrich Klaasen in for Tony Lazozi and Tabrei Shamsi in for Lungingidi. And like I said, I don't think that Rob Walter will make that particular change for this particular match. Big players with a bat. Well, I think obviously, as per usual, that opening partnership is going to be crucial because whenever our opening partners do well and lay a foundation, South Africa bat at their best. That's when South Africa are at their best completely. If a platform is set, and I'm just talking about even 60-run partnership, 60-run partnership or 70-run partnership is enough to get South Africa going. I don't want to see us again like in the previous match, down one with 20 on the board or whatever the case may be. We need to make sure that we can be for zero heading out of the power play. That will be a big strength from a South African standpoint in this match. It will set South Africa up in this match. So especially if we're chasing, it's even more important then, because I feel like the pressure will then kick in and then we'll start to scramble around and make mistakes. The running also needs to be very good between the wickets. I've always said that on a flat wicket, it's very important that we run well between the wickets, run hard, run smartly. It's very important that we run smartly. We've seen Temba Bavuma heading into this particular tournament in the tri-series have a couple of mistakes when he's running between the wickets. We've seen David Miller get involved with a couple of runouts in the past as well. So Aiden Markram has been involved with some, mostly when he's on the receiving end of the bad run out. It normally happens with him. But Rassi is a very strong runner between the wickets. Aiden's a very good runner between the wickets. Ryan Rickleton and Temba are too, but they need to minimize the mistakes. And then a big factor. I think the differentiator between the two teams here, it's going to be the fielding. Fielding is going to be absolutely important, not only from a run leaking perspective, but also with regards to putting pressure on Australia and forcing them to play a more attacking brand and take more risks. From that perspective, 100% is going to play a big influence. On top of that, not only does the fielding put pressure on them with regards to a scoring perspective, but it also helps South Africa mentally. It will bring the South African team a lot more closer together, and they can start to pile the pressure on and start to believe in each other. But also, it will help our bowlers maintain a good run rate and keep that pressure on. Because as the run rate increases, of course, the more pressure is going to be on South Africa. The lower the run rate, the more power goes into the South African bowlers' side and camp. So it's very important that we field correctly, that we show that aggression, and that we keep the intensity extremely high, because that's how you beat Australia. You need to be at your best. There's no other way. You can't scrape through against an Australian side playing a half a brand of cricket. You need to be all unified, play together as a team, run hard between the wickets, increases your motivation, it increases your belief, and that's how you beat them. So there's going to be a lot of talk heading into this match on what we should do, what team we should select, etc. I've given you my thoughts. I've given you my point of view on how I think we should approach this. I mentioned the conditions as well. So if you guys did miss that, you can go back and watch it. It's time for me to get into the live chat and discuss with you guys and answer your questions, etc. Anirudh says, Sir, what do you think will be a good score for South Africa to defend if they bat first? If we bat first, we have to score 360 plus. I strongly believe that that's the only way we beat Australia, especially with them believing that they can chase anything right now. They probably feel that they can because against England they chased 33, 52. So that's something in this tournament. I mean, it was one of the highest tournament chases in history, I think. So it's a very good performance from Australia. They're coming in with amazing confidence. So we're going to have, if we bat first, we need to score 360, minimum 360. We do have a good enough bowling attack, I feel, to defend 350, but I think that's what we're going to have to score if we bat first. But I think we should bat second and try to keep that scoring rate down. Put Australia in a position that they have. It's the one thing that they haven't done so far because they've only played one game and South Africa's played one game. So rather let both teams do something, I feel, that they haven't done in this tournament so far. So South Africa will then chase and Australia will then bat first. Talha says, what do you think we should do if we win the toss? Because it's been said that there was due overnight. I've already mentioned it. I believe that we should bat second, although it might be an unpopular opinion. I will make one change to the 11. It would be straight swap of Tony with Klaasen, says Talha. If not fit, I would want Stubbs to play in the middle order because there is an X factor about him. I'm a big fan of Tristan Stubbs, and I said that he should be in this 11 based on his talent and his performances. But with the form of other players at the moment, it's very difficult to fit him in right now. And he didn't have the best of warm-ups and leading up to the tournament, and he didn't have the best SA20, so he's not in the best of form. But sometimes, it takes one performance to spark that form again, and maybe it could be in the Champions Trophy. But right now, I wouldn't want to tinker too much with the batting lineup as is. I mean, Heinrich Klaasen has a very, very good record against Adam Zampa, so it would be a no-brainer to bring him back into the side if he's fit. Tech Geek says, "Oh wow, I have such podcasts for cricket. Wow." I'm trying my best to bring a podcast for cricket and a live show for cricket. Yes, and I've been doing it now for the last 5 years. So I'm very happy that you found us. So please smash that subscribe button if you like the content over here, bro. Or woman, I'm not sure if you're a girl or a boy, or a man or a woman. Anurag says, I'd bring in Shamsi for Lungi given his decent record with Australia. I was just speaking about that at the top of the show, so brilliant comment. I can't disagree with that one. Falake says, I think we should bat first. It has been our strength all this time, and batting first will force our bowlers to be more clinical and ruthless. So that's a good opinion as well. I don't think anybody is right or wrong when you give your thoughts. I mean, you can go either way with this one. I just feel that South Africa will have a better edge if both teams go into this match having to do something that they haven't done in the first opening match that gave them so much confidence. I think that South Africa stand a much bigger chance to win this match, I feel, if they reduce Australia to a lower total and then chase it, than sending Australia into chase. Because Australia chasing, they don't get fazed by that pressure very easily. They're very brilliant chasers. They've proven that so many occasions. And this is a tournament, Australia. Completely different story when it comes to ICC tournaments. Priyanshu says, bro, in South Africa, what are you talking about? Bro, in South Africa, black rule still work in team selection. I'm from India. Do you mean the quota system? So the quota selection or transformation selection is still active in South African cricket, but they do it outside of tournaments. So they try to make up the numbers in bilateral series, etc., and throughout the year. So it's not as people think. People tend to think that it's game to game, that you must have a certain amount of numbers in each side. That only it's only like that in domestic cricket, where you have to pick a certain amount every game. In international cricket, you can make up, it's a percentage over the year. So how have you implemented transformation throughout the entire season, throughout the entire year of cricket? So that's how you balance it out. So in the bilaterals, they tend to give more black players and colored players an opportunity, and Indian players an opportunity, so that they can level out the numbers if they haven't selected positively in tournaments. But in the opening game, from South African standpoint, Rob did pick a very balanced side when it comes to transformation. He had Tony Dezorzi and Lungengidi, Kaiji Rabada, and Temba Bavuma in that side. So that's four black Africans, which is more than what the requirements are even domestically. And then we had Keshav Maharaj as well in the team. So um, the numbers were pretty good when it comes to transformation. We had 5 players of color in the team. NY Times Square says, I believe Proteas have better lineup than India on paper in this Champions Trophy. The games aren't won on paper, bro, so I won't read too much into that. Uh, it's all one up here, and we're going to have to find a way on how to get over those, mental hurdles that we've always faced when it comes to ICC events. In my Times Square says his transformation also in other sports. How does Springboks work compared to the Proteas? There was transformation in rugby as well, and for many years they did have to implement it. But the way it was implemented in rugby was a lot smarter than I feel in cricket. We didn't wait and wait and wait until it became a problem. Rugby embraced it, and they piled money or pumped money into the system, into the lower leagues, into club cricket, into club rugby, into many other aspects of rugby, schoolboy rugby, to try and produce more players of color from a much younger age that are talented, and give them the right coaching and the sponsorship and the support, etc. So rugby caught onto it very early. 1995 World Cup already, they started speaking about plans, etc., on transforming rugby in South Africa. It played a big part in our freedom and our recall back into um, into the main leagues again, in the World Cups, etc. So South Africa has done an amazing job when it comes to rugby, particularly in the lower groups, in the lower levels. Sam says, I hope Klaasen will be okay to play tomorrow. I hope so too. He's going for a late fitness test, and then they will decide whether he will play or not. But Ashish, bro, India, we loved AB de Villiers as God in South Africa. Do you think you have the same fan base in South Africa? I don't think South Africans like to place people on a pedestal and paint them out to be gods, etc., or that level of deity. They, they, we are type of we are a type of community. I feel, and from my time living in South Africa, we do 100% support people and people that are successful, etc., and we are behind you, etc., but we don't put people on the pedestal of that level of worship, I would say, or of admiration. We tend to be a very humble nation when it comes to that. We like to keep people humble, and we like it when players are humble and keep their feet on the ground, etc. Yeah, if we bowl first and limit them to a low score, then we'll truly stand a good chance of winning, says Falake. Yeah, I truly agree with you there. And this will be a massive confidence boost for the Proteas. It will be. It 100% will be. Pro, your thoughts on Babar Azam? Do you think he is overrated? And what's your thoughts on Kohli last innings versus Pakistan? He's father of Pakistan. I'm a big fan of Virat Kohli. That is well known. It also has a lot to do with my experience that I had meeting him. He showed me kindness that he didn't need to show me. He was in no means did he have to show me any kindness, and he did. And he acknowledged me, and I felt like Roman Reigns acknowledged me. Now I'm joking. He acknowledged me, and he had a conversation with me, and he made me feel um, quite comfortable, you know. So my experience meeting him was brilliant. So I'll always have a respect for him, and I also love the way he plays. So that is something that I feel will always be the case with Virat Kohli. And I mean, Virat Kohli is a fantastic player, so I wouldn't put it past him to do that what he did against Pakistan. When it comes to Babar Azam, I think Babar Azam is highly talented, but I do feel that people refrain from kind of hopping on him when it comes to scoring rate because they know how brilliant he is. But other players I've seen, particularly South African players, get a lot of stick for batting slower, particularly in white ball cricket. And I don't feel that Babar gets the same type of scrutiny when it comes to that. However, I do think he's a brilliant player, um, highly talented, highly skillful, and very important to Pakistan. Because when he does perform for Pakistan, almost always Pakistan win if that is the case. In my times cases, I just mean every people think India is favorites, but I genuinely believe we have better lineup compared to them. Surely we have best bowling lineup. They don't have Bumrah this time. Sam's Khalid, what about protest training sessions videos? Why not uploading? We didn't receive the we didn't receive any training videos for this particular. Yeah, we didn't receive any training videos, bro. We have to wait from we get it from CSA directly, and they don't always send out the training videos to us. It's only when they can and when they have someone shooting it. So that's why there's no training videos. And yeah, and you must know, Sam, if I'm not uploading any training videos, there will be a bloody good reason for it. I'm not with I'm not keeping things away from you guys. I want you guys to see everything. So know that if I don't, we haven't received it. YC doesn't include good spin coach for new spinners. I have no clue. NY Times Square, was rugby always bigger before World Cup win, or rugby just took over after World Cup win? Will be see same if we win trophies in cricket. Cricket was big, but it was never bigger than rugby. I don't think personally, from what my experience, I think rugby is way more supported than cricket. It always has been, especially because we won the World Cup in 1995, just after readmission. So that was a massive boost to our country. Rugby also went through a period where it was supported less when teams weren't winning, like South African local teams weren't winning in the Super Rugby. They were doing poorly. The Bokke were getting crapped on every single weekend. So the support did dip during that period. And I think that's something about South Africans that I've picked up when it comes to supporting their teams. They do like a winning team, and they get very, very irritated and, from a South African slang perspective, hurtful if a team is not performing at their ability, and they tend to drop their support if that is the case. So we do support winners here. We do like to support winners, um, and we do see a dip in support when teams aren't winning. But I do feel that a World Cup win or ICC win, ICC tournament victory from a South African cricket perspective, I do believe that fans will the the viewership and support from the South African public will increase again, because everything that is happening in cricket, the politics, the transformation targets, all of those type of things, having transformation targets and losing is the problem. Because in rugby, they did have transformation targets, but they were winning, and they've been winning with players of color in the team with very good. They don't even need transformation targets with the amount of players of color they produce on a regular. So, and also it's a lot easier because you have 15 to work with, not 11. So the split is it's a lot easier to work it in as well. You have more room to work with. But obviously winning helps. There is nothing to really then criticize. But in cricket, We are trying to do everything at once and still trying to win matches, and it is hurting cricket. But I feel that a victory in an ICC tournament will really help. Wilbur says Australia don't stand a chance tomorrow. They just don't have the bowlers. We especially have to attack Maxwell and Labuskaghni. Well, they bowled pretty well against England, I would say. So I wouldn't be too dismissive of their bowling. What Australia does really well is if they don't have the firepower and the natural ability, they come with a bloody good plan. I can guarantee you that they've studied all of our players, they've studied all of our batters, they've looked at all their weaknesses, and they will implement the plan tomorrow. So we're going to have to be absolutely on our A game. Priyanshu says, we should acknowledge King Kohli. Do you think King Kohli will break 100 centuries of Sachin Tenduka's record? It would be great to see someone do it in our lifetime. Then at least we can also see we've seen history and some magnificent things in our period of being on this earth. In my Times Square says the difference is Khalid, SA have batters who can play more aggressively, and Pakistan don't have batters who can change games. Asaim Ayub maybe in future. I love that. That kid is good, brilliant. Shad Haq says this is why I won't get an Indian girlfriend. They hype the cricket. What does an Indian girlfriend have to do with anything? They hype their cricket up too much. Yeah, well, it is that way. Michael Joseph, can SA win this Champions Trophy, Khalid? How confident are you? If you beat Australia, I'll believe 100%. If we lose to Australia, I'm going to be on the 80% side. My expectations of South Africa for this tournament was semi-finals. And if we make it to a final, brilliant. But if we beat Australia tomorrow, then I'll have a lot more belief in this team. If our bowlers can put in a great performance, then I'll believe we can win it. If they can restrict Australia tomorrow on a flat wicket, then my belief is going to shoot through the roof. Sam says exactly what I want from our young players like Aiden, Brevis, Brzezinski to learn from Kohli to how he sees things, how he runs very fast for first so that he can be back for this. Very important that if there's anything that players, modern day players can learn from Virat Kohli, it's that running between the wickets. Ramtej Music, is that how I pronounce it? Ramtej Music. Do you think SA20 is helping the local talent? You're going to ask me a controversial question right here on the show right now. Do I think that SA20 is helping local talent? I believe that it's helping the talent that are selected for the SA20. The ones that do get picked up, it helps them. Do I feel that it's helping future stars that haven't been selected? I don't think so. I believe that because of the success of the SA20, I feel more players, younger players, are going to push to play T20 cricket. And there's now a SA20 schools. They're going to push to be a part of that so that they can get signed in SA20 tournaments. And what ends up happening then is they neglect the long format game. And I feel that our ODI format and our test format is going to suffer because of that. Priyanshu says, bro, I don't know why now SA don't have a big names like in the past, ABD, Amala, Faf, Dale, Stain. Because big names are made. They are not born. So these players need to build themselves into that level. And I feel that also we don't hype up the players enough that are South African. This particular squad has made a semi-final, 2 semi-finals and a final in 3 years, which is something that previous generations weren't able to do. And it's the same group of players, basically almost identically. So I don't feel that we hype up these players enough and give them the same. I think that the players in the past were overhyped a bit, even though they did remarkable things and they were extremely brilliant. But I think that compared to what the achievements have been from this particular teams in recent times, they performed extremely well. They've actually outperformed previous generation teams. So when it comes to at least ICC events. But I do feel that because in the past, South African used to be in all bilateral series and then come to a World Cup and choke, it gets masked a bit. There, I think that they the hero status is already been given to them before they even win a trophy. So we obviously going to hype those players up because we saw them win so many times. Whereas this particular squad wins less than they lose more than they win. At the moment, that's how it's been. But they've been excellent in tournaments. So if they win a World Cup or they win an ICC event, I think we'll start to put some legend status to some of these players' names, especially the ones that have performed. I mean, look at Heinrich Klaassen, absolutely fantastic. David Miller, absolutely fantastic. Aiden Markram on his day can be destructive. I mean, Temba Bavuma is brilliant in Test cricket and in ODIs, I feel. Ryan Rickleton's starting to make a name for himself, but it's a little bit too early. I mean, Anik Nokia was a total superstar. KJ Rapada is magnificent. Keshav Maharaj is fantastic. So these are all names that are going to go down as legends if they win a trophy. NY Times Square says, do you get to invited from other country content creators from other countries? There are a few creators from different countries where they review alongside Jared Kimber. Will be good to see you too someday, bro. If they see me and they want me on there, they can reach out to me, but I'm not going to go looking for it. I don't think that's right to force myself onto other creators. If they are interested in having me on the shows and want to bring me into the loop, then I'm happy to do so and go on other shows. I think I've been on the Caribbean Cricket podcast, at least. And that's a very good channel that has really grown in the past. I've watched them grow and overtake us, so they're doing excellently. And come on, guys, we need to push, guys, and get ourselves up there with the best in the world when it comes to YouTube podcasting. I know I'm a South African cricket only channel, and I've focused on that particularly, and maybe that is what is restricting the growth a little bit. But come on, guys, let's be loyal here. Let's push us up there into that stratosphere. Priyanshu says, do you think VK will break record of... I've already spoken about that. Sam says, on the other hand, MI Cape Town head coach Robin Peterson interested in coaching. Of course, he's interested in coaching the Proteas. Why would he not be? I mean, he's a very ambitious guy. I would be very surprised if he says he's not interested in coaching the Proteas. NY Times Square says, I feel New Zealand will beat India and we will meet India in the semi-final. It's going to be a very tough one. Lorenzo says Stubbs is probably the first player that people once selected, even though he is not in form when it comes to ICC events. Talent will not win you an ICC event. Current form does. He is not in form, people. And yes, I've agreed with you there. And he's not in my starting 11. We need to pick players on form in a tournament. That is extremely important. And Lorenzo, you're spot on over there. Big fan of Stubbs. I'm sure you are too. But for this tournament right now, we have to pick the players that are most in form. If David Miller continues to not perform, if he doesn't perform against Australia again, then maybe we can think about it against England from a Stubbs perspective. But I wouldn't play him at 6 anyway, even if I bring him into the side. So that will cause a little bit of an issue to the lineup. For me, in ODI format, Stubbs is a 3 or 4. For me, he's not a number 6. I would even go as far as saying even in T20 cricket, I would prefer him batting high up the order than 6. He's not a finisher in my eyes. I believe he's too talented to just be a finisher. Wilbur says, Zampa is praying that Klaassen is not in the starting 11. Australia depends heavily on him. So if we can keep his wicketless, oops, that thing just jumped up. If we can keep him wicketless, we will win the game. And I spoke about that earlier on. Heinrich Klaassen needs to take Zampa apart because he scored a hell of a lot of runs against Zampa. He's very successful against him. Shad says, why is Mapaka, Shamsi, and Gidi in the side over Linda, Barty, or Hendricks? Which Hendricks? Which Hendricks are you talking about? Yeah, I'm disappointed about Linda and Othniel Bartman. I think Othniel Bartman could have easily taken Lungi's spot in this squad. But they've gone with what they've gone with. So there's no point in me really talking about it right now because it's the squad that we have. We have to pick from the squad that we have. Sam says, I don't know why guys crying for Riza again in ODIs. There are many young knocking on the door. Britsky, Tony already in squad. Jordan Henman doing well. Carl Brevis doing well. Then why Riza? Because Riza has been doing well as well. He's been in good form. Shad says, ironic that that Patterson is interested in SA job. Peterson, sorry, Patterson. Ironic that Peterson is interested in SA job. Every time I spoke to him, he always seems so bored. Even that SA21, he just grins. Low energy, but massive effort, though. I think that's just his personality. He's calm, he's cool, he plays it down, humble when it comes to talking about it. Um, but he's performed and he's brought trophy to MI. Pardon, guys. Especially after that MI team has been bottom of the log 2 seasons in a row. Lorenzo says, and if people want to select on talent alone, then Brever should play as he is way talented than most. I love Stubbs, but in us events, you select for players. I've already agreed with you. In my time, Square says it was still hard to digest Stubbo on bench when he have been carrying out batting in the last year. Lorenzo says, if Klassen doesn't play tomorrow, I'd select Stubbs over the Zorzi. That's a very interesting one. And I wouldn't mind to see Stubbo batting higher in this particular match. Priyanshu says, you guys rate ABD, best cricketer ever in South Africa. I do rate his ability as a cricketer. I think he was magnificent. One of the best batters we've seen when it comes to particularly white ball cricket. And yeah, he's extremely good. Some people might say he was hyped up way beyond what he actually produced for South Africa, particularly in T20 cricket. But I do think he was talented. He was my favorite player for a very, very, very long time. And I really enjoyed watching him play. I can't really bash him as a cricketer. He was a fantastic cricketer. Ramtage Music says it's not a question, but I'm so excited to see Mulder on a big stage. He's really talented. Yeah, I remember watching him as a schoolboy in Kaimajolo week, and it's so amazing to see how far he's come playing for South Africa and actually finally finding his form and his place. After years of overthinking and trying to do too much, he's now found a groove and he's operating at an extremely high level at the moment. So I'm very, 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 very happy for him. KS Madide says, Khalid, I've observed that Australia are very strong when batting second, so I hope we bat second, of course, taking into consideration the conditions. Yeah, I spoke about all of that at the top of the show, so you can go back and watch it. But I'll repeat it for you. There is talk about a little bit of dew around, so I think batting first is going to be harder. So for me, I would bat second in this particular match and chase, even though South Africa has been a little bit iffy on chases. I think that adding Rickleton to this team, he showed for teams, Lions, SA20 as well, MI, that he's good at, that he can handle the pressure of chasing. So I don't have an issue with that. And I have a big belief in Rassie van der Distance mentality. I think at the moment he's playing no fear cricket. He's playing with absolutely no baggage at the moment. And I think he's extremely dangerous. PDL Arjun says, after the Champions Trophy, Temba and Rassie have to get retired from Odia and Malcolm will lead the side. Stubbs and Brzezinski will have to be included in the proper 11. This team will rock. Lorenzo says we can beat 100% beat. We can 100%. Lorenzo says we can 100% beat Australia. And I'm going to end it with that because I believe we can. We just need to come to the party, put in 100% effort, believe in ourselves, field well, do everything, the basics right. But the biggest thing for me is the intensity we come with. That's going to be the key to this match. And if we do that, that's going to be brilliant. Michael says, Khalid, how is your other YouTube channel going? I've put it on hold for now because I've been so busy with cricket. I'm going to pick it up again at some other time. I need to actually do some reviews. I recently watched Captain America, and I actually want to do a quick review on that. So I might be doing that sometime soon. So yeah, you guys can go over there and subscribe to that. I put it on hold for a bit because I've been really drowning in cricket, guys. There's so much happening. Domestic cricket, women's cricket, Ace under 19 cricket, Colts cricket. There's so much. Domestic cricket's taken up a lot of time, and then obviously this Champions Trophy. But anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos. I'm gonna wait for you to do it. I'm gonna wait. Have you done it? Have you done it? Subscribe. Okay, I'm just being an idiot. Smash the like button, comment, and share, please. Very important that you guys do so as well. And also subscribe to Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please have a great evening. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the game tomorrow, and I'll see you after the match. Peace out.